who have not been on our Discord, we have mentioned several times in past broadcasts that we just have impromptu discussions in the voice chat. I decided to record one of them. Our current discussion is basically the psychology of DC characters and a cross relation to Toku. Because as I've mentioned before in the past with like various riff streams, is that like with Zuo the World and whatnot, there are no psychologists in the Tokusatsu world. And the end result of having no psychologists in the Tokusatsu world is essentially the DC continuity, because literally everyone in Batman's Gotham, like the entire problem with Gotham is that it's so corrupt, and Arkham's a revolving door, that literally everyone on Batman's both hero list and villain list are psychologically damaged. They all have neuroses, and like that's why, like even after the Joker reforms, he still leaves clues, even if he's just leaving a clue for Batman to meet him for lunch.
You said Joker means
Riddler. Like all of them just have neuroses, and there's no one to actually properly deal with them. And right now our discussion had to come to Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, because Harley Quinn is another perfect example of that. She was a psychologist at Arkham treating the Joker. She was a first-year resident, and no one stopped and said, you know, let's put the first-year resident who just got out of medical school in with the most dangerous, psychologically deranged person in our roster and see how she does.
She didn't have any backup. Like, even Hugo Strange or the person who was in charge of the hospital didn't go,
well, Hugo Strange is just a psychopath.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that literally everybody's got a neurosis and there's nobody to properly treat them.
Yeah. So, like, all these... Everyone working there was like, no one said, hey, maybe we should contact our director and see if this is a good idea. No one contacted any higher up. They just allowed Harley to do this. And
well, I mean, a big part of that is the corruption, because the problem is that the higher up was Hugo Strange, who was, that's right. Yeah. That's the kind of the big problem.
I think what they did there was they followed the old adage. The inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah, it really was.
So, and I've brought up, like, Poison Ivy. If you've watched the animated series and you've actually read the comics or from the animated series, Suicide Squad, if she appeared, I don't think she's ever appeared, but like the animated series comics, the comics in general, and Harley Quinn's own run of comics where Poison Ivy's showing up. And even some of the movie specials where they've had Poison Ivy be the Noah Harley Quinn. They've all shown that Poison Ivy has this a kinship, like either love interest, best friend angle, or just a caring a caring outlook towards. How caring? At one point, Poison Ivy has, in all continuities, cured Harley Quinn of any and all poisons that Ivy has, because she cares so deeply about Harley Quinn, and that's great. Like, so if there was some sort of non-idiot running Arkham, they could have locked those two up in the same cell, knowing that they're not going to hate each other. And they're going to help each other because they care so much about each other. To the point where Harley can come out completely back as going now as Harley Quinn and come out as Harleen Quinzel with Pamela Isley. And she would come right into Pamela, you have not cured all your poisons yet, sweetheart, so you can't exactly give a warm embrace to anyone or give them a kiss on the cheek because you could kill them. Unless you put loads of makeup on them, then you can actually do that. Like, there'll still be a slight bit of neurosis because you got to let a little bit of it out from time to time. Like, they can be cured, yes, but they're going to be like straight up cured. Got to have a little bit of that fun angle with them still. Pamela can still snap his on like hurts the planet in her presence, but she won't go completely psycho. She's like, why did you do that? You could have just done this. So, but anyway, then...
Yeah, that is another key aspect of it. Like, a lot of the key characters in the DC continuity have actual degrees in something. Pamela Isley is a doctor. Harley Quinzel is a psychologist. They both have medical degrees. They both went through medical school, which is at least 8 years. So they're intelligent people with a lot of skills, but they have serious neuroses that literally Arkham Asylum is run by the inmates and makes things worse.
If I remember correctly, I think I don't know if Pamela's actually got a doctorate or she has just actually an actual doctor. She'll have a doctorate.
It depends on the continuity, but going by the original, because of course, New 52 and all that, but in the original continuity, she was a botanist, so she had a doctorate in botany.
Yeah, so she had an honorary doctorate, so she wasn't a doctor. She wasn't a doctor. She was
a science doctor, not a medical doctor.
Science doctor, yes.
She's still a doctor.
Harley Quinzel is a mental doctor.
Yeah.
She has a
medical degree.
PhD. Yeah, she has a medical degree. That's where you got to follow the distinctions, people. And then we have another doctor, Victor Freeze, aka Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm. Now, this one, before you start, because you're going to talk about the animated show, I will mention, because I know people are going to comment on this when I eventually post it to BoobTube, in the comics, Victor Freeze was just a criminal. He was just a thug. But, of course, that's been retconned in a lot of the continuities, even in the main continuity before New 52, to make him a doctor. So, yes, we are aware that originally he was just a criminal. But that has since been retconned and been part of his continuity in pretty much all continuities.
Like, his new continuity, instead of just being a criminal because criminal, he's now a doctor who fell into the treatment tank, cryogenically froze himself because DC.
Because comics.
Yeah, because comics. While trying to find a cure for his wife's illness. And if you've watched the back credit card movie, Batman and Robin with 3 villains that it was a train wreck. But in that movie, they found a cure for it, but we don't know if it was made with his wife as well, or just for Alfred.
Well, it was said that it was for an earlier strain, and his wife was too far advanced.
Right. So
he'd basically come up with a cure for what would be a normal comparison? Parkinson's?
Yeah.
Probably Parkinson's.
Early stage Parkinson's, or some form of illness like that, where it affects the nervous system. He effectively perfected a cure for early stages of a neurological disease. And he just needed the funding and the laboratory space to further enhance the cure, to make it a cure-all, a literal cure-all.
For all stages, yes.
For all stages of it.
Now, as a counterpoint, I want to jump us over to Marvel, because we have a similar character with Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus was in a very similar situation. He had come up with, I don't believe it was a cure for a disease, but it was a very advanced form of energy research.
Yes.
And, of course, early comics, they're always just criminals. Later continuity always gives them more depth. But what happens ultimately in the comics is, after going through his criminal stint, he does, like the Riddler, reform. And he becomes a respected member of society. Because in Marvel continuity, you can have villains reform. They'll usually slide back, but as of my current understanding of the Marvel continuity before they had their big crossover restructuring event, is like, yes, he was dying and he switched his brain over to Peter Parker and we had the Superior Spider-Man. But that's the thing you have to keep in mind, is as crazy as Superior Spider-Man was with Dr. Octopus inside of Peter Parker's mind, and we all know how screwed up Peter Parker's life is, what Dr. Octopus did was he turned Peter Parker into a wealthy businessman. He created spider drones that could go out and monitor crime for him. He got a love life. He was respected, wealthy, efficient. He basically was a superior Spider-Man, which basically indicates the fact that Dr. Octopus, if given the right stimuli, can become a decent, even heroic person. He still had...
Now here's something to bring up. He rebonded with Venom which could have actually made him permanently bone with him.
Yes. But
So
he didn't.
Marvel Comics does these type of things. They explore the idea of villains reforming, and they also explore the flaws of the heroes, because Peter Parker's biggest uh, biggest handle biggest hurdle to actually being productive in his own life is Peter Parker. He sabotages himself.
Yep.
Because
I think those
Dr.
are-
Octopus had his same body, his same powers, he had his own intellect, and what did he do? He made Peter Parker a success overnight. So he proved that Peter Parker, with no backing from anyone else, just Peter Parker and obviously Dr. Octopus's intellect, could become successful and still be a superhero. It's Peter Parker who sabotages his own success.
because he's constantly worrying about, oh, but my Aunt May, like, this is one thing that I'm going, and I agree with Linkara on this one, which has still not been retconned, even with all of the retcons and the reboots and everything. Aunt May told Peter Parker to let her die. She wanted to die, but Peter Parker was being just, no, not just, he was being greedy and was like, no, I'm a self-obsessed asshole. I need you to be my foil. I need you to be alive. He didn't sell his soul.
He sold
To the
his
devil to-
future.
No, you don't even sell his future. He sold his marriage.
Well, technically he sold his future, because what Mephisto revealed at the end is, because your wedding has been null and void, May Parker will never come to be. Basically Marvel 2 with May Parker, Mayday May Parker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the daughter of Spider-Man had been unmade.
He sold his marriage. He didn't just sell his marriage, so the bonding of two souls, air quotes. He sold his daughter, he sold his whole entire family tree from that moment on with Mary Jane. Just so a woman who told him to let her die could still be alive. I'm sorry, but if that's not self-centered and egotistical arrogance, I don't know what is.
Personally, I'm surprised she hasn't died of old age yet.
Oh, don't worry. She has to die of old age at some point. Peter Parker's not good. They keep on a reboot Peter Parker because it's like, oh wait, he's not a teen anymore. How are we supposed to get the teenage readers to keep reading him? It's not like the fan base is mature enough to understand the themes and the motives behind it. No, let's just keep Peter Parker as a teen.
I expect he'll make a deal with the devil at some point in the future to be turned back into a teenager, just so they can have young May Parker to match with the movie. Because they like doing that. They like matching with the movies. Peter Parker didn't have organic web slingers until it was actually a thing in the Spider-Man movies. Then they had a big plot line which led to like this Queen of All Spiders, and then he lost his organic web shooters.
Yep.
Yeah, not only that, they also had more traits, as in venomous web, as in venomous face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, it's like the Green Goblin, who was sort of like like Harry Osborn. He's not been a Green Goblin for ages, but he's still psychopathic. He's just hit it very well.
Yeah, that's the big difference between Marvel and DC, is the psychopaths in the Marvel DC tend to hide it pretty well, because there's a lot of actual skilled people like Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Jessica Drew, not Jessica Drew, whatever her name is, She-Hulk, Matt Murdock, the Daredevil. There are people in actual fields of psychology and law in the Marvel continuity who actually make a job of reforming people. In the DC continuity, who do we have to reform criminals? The Flash.
Yep. And he's the comic relief. He's like the comic relief character in like the big team ups. Because hey, let's not make fun of the guy who actually cares.
Like, that's the big thing about Flash, if you actually read the comics, is because it's sort of the old Superman parable. How do you make an interesting story for someone who's invincible? Well, how do you make an interesting story for someone who's literally faster than light? You explore the social aspects. So the Flash can usually outrun most of his opponents. They're not really a threat. They downplay that in the various TV shows, but typically in the comics what happens is the Flash's stories are more story based and more psychology based, manipulation of emotions. So like
Like, yeah, he once went through time.
Yes.
yeah,
I mean, he's done it multiple times.
yeah. And like there's the criminal, what was it, the trickster who he just reformed. Like
Yep.
he constantly, like if the trickster starts acting up, it's like, trickster, have you been taking your medicine? No, I don't like the way it tastes. Come on, let's
But
go get donuts.
they actually did that in the Justice League TV show, because he went up because Batman tried to deteriorate him. One of the new gods, that's a completely different thing. That was there. He wanted to rough up, and Flash was like, "I got this." Sits down and treats him like he'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, hey, Flash, how you doing, buddy?" He's like, "Dude, you're wearing a costume again." He's like, "I am? Oh, what'd you know?" And he treats him like a decent human being. And Batman's like, "Cool," but the other guy's like, "Why'd you do this?" And he's like, "Because he's human, like we are." What people seem to forget is like most of Flash's rogues gallery are just regular ass human beings. What's Captain Boomerang's special ability? He throws a boomerang.
What's Captain Cold's
And
gimmick? He has a cold
he's got
gun.
what's Captain Cold's gimmick? He's Victor Freeze without the whole being frozen in ice. He's the same character.
He's basically the original Victor Freeze, a criminal.
Yeah.
With a cold gun.
Yep.
Yeah, he's Mr. Freeze without a really reason for us.
Yep. Like what's But yep, the only one person who is a villain and has superpowers and is a constant thorn in Roy's side that he can't reform is the Reverse Flash.
Yeah, Eobard Thawne. Because Eobard Thawne is, well, he's from the future, he was a Flash fanboy, and he's got neuroses related to basically his powers. Because by traveling back in time, it messed with his memories.
He's one of the iconic like sad villains. All he wanted was to be the Flash's friend. He's only ever wanted to be the Flash's best friend. He just goes by the wrong way. He just all of his shenanigans, all of his like messing with the Flash was to get his attention. It was the worst way possible.
Well,
it was to get his attention.
It's really complicated because, like, originally what happened is when he went back in time, Wally West was the Flash, not Barry Allen, and since he was such a big fanboy, he actually dressed up like Barry, and so by traveling back in time, his memories got so screwed up he thought he was Barry Allen, and so he's confused why Wally West was the Flash since he's supposed to be the Flash, because he thought he actually was Barry instead of Eobard Thawne. And it just kind of spiraled out of control there. Basically, his ability to travel through time screwed up his mind so terribly much that he basically went from being a Flash fanboy to the Flash's largest hater for no other reason than the fact that the Flash exists.
And no matter how many times he gets killed, because I've followed some of the comics a little bit. I don't own them. I've seen YouTube videos where they've discussed the comic.
Yeah, and since he wants to get back in time so much, if he dies, that's just one version of him.
Yeah, he's sort of like he's almost like Captain Jack Harkness, except when he dies in the past and he's still alive in the future. He's a fixed point in time. So whatever happens, he comes back. Sometimes he just wants to be the Flash's best friend. Sometimes he wants to murder Flash. He's an interesting character to explore, but at the same time,
aside from the time when he was a Black Lantern,
yeah,
every time he dies, it's just one version of him.
He's a very interesting character to explore. Like he's one of the very few DC characters where he's got a lot of potential to explore there, but it just takes the right kind of writer. Like to go back to the Batman Rogue Gallery, Clayface, he's always been my favorite villain because in the Batman animated series, again I go back to that because that was my favorite Batman media. He started off as an actor who kept using this miracle cream to make himself look young. When he found out this cream was being discontinued, he broke into the factory to try and get as much of it as he could before it got thrown away. Batman came in, tried to stop him. Clayface falls into this. The guy who would become Clayface falls into this vat of this chemical and becomes Clayface. And with that power, he's able to change himself into whatever he wants to be. He could be anyone. And if so, in my eyes, he would be the perfect villain for any Batman movie because he could be anyone. He could disguise himself as Alfred or Bruce Wayne or Lucius Fox, Batgirl, Commissioner Gordon, Harvey Dent. He could be any of the. He could be anyone. He could. So the movie credits could have Clayface's pedestrian / Clayface. Every single person could have Clayface and Batman. Because you never know in any scene who it was.
And furthermore, in one of the episodes of the animated series, they actually had him split off a clone, and the clone lost her memories and whatnot. But
oh god, that's a sad one. And the clone loses
we
memories.
know we can create homunculi. Granted, the homunculi become their own characters eventually.
Yep.
But it's kind of terrifying when you imagine the fact that he could literally be a crowd of people.
Yep. Like the sad thing though is he spawned off this little girl for some reason. She lost her memory. Robin fell in love with her and was trying to protect her from Clayface until Clayface absorbed her, and that sort of broke Robin for a good while there, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So but if he was to reform, he could be a great actor. He could be a great if he reforms and he got the psychological training. He could say, okay, describe what this person that you hate looks like, and then he could turn into it and go, okay, I've turned into this person, so you can get all your pent up frustration and anger out on me. It's not. Don't worry. It will hurt, but I will not bleed. So you can punch me. You can punch, kick, stab, shoot, do whatever you want to me. It's not going to harm me. So he could be the perfect way to release stress. And be a psychologist. He has the most potential for good out of any of the Batman villains.
And on a similar note, let's jump over to the Halle Berry Catwoman movie.
Oh god, no.
Because the main villain in that movie, as featured here on screen, because I'm actually using reference images whenever we talk.
I can't see it myself.
I'll provide you a link, because I think this is the only one that you actually wouldn't have as a reference point. Let me put it up in the voice.
Oh, you mean the movie where the main villain is just a guy who likes makeup?
The girl who uses makeup. She's essentially Clayface.
Oh
Yeah.
god! Oh, you're right. She used makeup to make herself immortal.
Yeah, as they established in the movie, if you use the makeup short term, it really screws up your face. You start melting and all kinds of crazy shit like that. If you keep using it, you become indestructible.
Yeah, she basically was Clayface, but more like sort of more intense, I guess.
She was incredibly vain.
Yeah, she was the more vain aspect of the actor who used that cream because he wanted to stay young. She was just vain for the sake of, oh, I'm a villain. I am trying to show off that true beauty comes from within and not from outside. Blah blah blah. Usual BS kids stuff.
So, like, as bad as the Catwoman movie was, it did kind of give us another aspect of the Clayface mythos. Because she's essentially Clayface. She used a cream. The cream starts off with you melting and looking essentially like Clayface does in most appearances. You know, all kinds of horrified and deformed. You keep using it, and you become an immortal beauty. Immortal, indestructible beauty.
Who's incredibly vain and wants to...
Well, the vanity was her character. It wasn't actually a feature of the cream.
She wanted to make the world beautiful and like her.
And the ironic thing is that, and I think His Ultra Critic mentioned this. Sure, the cream used short term cause your face to melt and all that, but if you keep using it, you're indestructible. So why
Yeah,
don't you promote it as that instead of
yeah.
trying to hide the short term side effects? Promote the fact that if you keep using it, you will never be hurt again. It could have been a really good product. Like, honestly speaking, Catwoman had no reason of trying to expose this aside from all you have to do is release a warning.
Yep.
Short term side effects, partial face melting. Long term side effects, immortality.
You would make a bunch of money off of that. But and this is as a token Brit, this may cloud my judgment on what I'm about to say next. But with the whole with that Clayface aspect and Victor Freeze being able to cure whatever the heck his wife had, the only reason why those wouldn't have been able to go off the ground is because of one thing and one thing only. The American, not just the American Health Association thing, but the fact that it's a one-time payment, and the pharmaceutical companies of America tend to thrive off of making lots of money off of short-term cures.
Well, that's the thing, is this works perfectly to the pharmaceutical concept because you have to keep using it to stay immortal. If you stop using it, then you start to decay. But basically, if you keep using it, you'll be immortal and indestructible.
But I'm not about.
So as long as you keep using the product, it actually encourages you to keep buying the product.
And with the Victor Freeze thing, though, that's a long-term cure for his wife's syndrome. He could have tried to market it, but it would have been either made to have a huge markup or just be so exclusive and so of a price that you wouldn't be able to afford it with any medical insurance or anything. Like they just have to try and justify the fact that it exists for no long-term gain from the pharmaceutical company who could make it.
And as we all know from recent news, pharmaceutical companies love just raising the price on stuff that is incredibly hard to get but is needed for survival.
I mean, look at that one jet. Look at that one.
What was his name? Elon Musk, I think it was.
I can't remember what the guy's name is, but he was like, he's got a very punchable face. Sit back here. He owns a company. He bought this. They writes this one brand of medicine which everyone had, and it was a very low price, and he jacked the price up by 1,000%.
Which actually isn't all that uncommon in the pharmaceuticals, but he just made such a stink about it that, like, he wanted people to hate him.
It was for advertising for the drug. He got more advertising for the drug, which was basically needed to keep people alive, and he marked it up to ungodly extent. It was terrible. It was a horrible news piece. But that's the situation that has been in America, because you've got the pharmaceutical companies basically running what happens with the healthcare, and it's terrible. And again, I got the NHS, and that's public funding, and funding can be taken away from that. So yeah, we still have private doctors. Here we still have private doctors who don't have to be part of the NHS, but the NHS is like universal healthcare. So you don't have to pay for much, but you can still have private treatment.
And I'm going to bring us over to another topic of discussion while we keep talking about DC, because this is one I've talked about in the past, but now we have a perfect opportunity. This is Cheetah. I believe her name is Minerva in the DC continuity.
Oh, yeah.
You know what her big hang-up is? That the magical transformation that turned her into Cheetah, like, and they've covered this in, like, the Justice League and whatnot, she hates being a furry freak. That's her big hang-up, is that she doesn't like being a monster. And yet people just keep punching her in the face. Her hang-up is that she had a transformation that turned her into a monster, and she doesn't want to be a monster. She was a doctor that got turned into a monster, and then instead of people, like, trying to help cure her situation, they just try and punch her in the face.
Depending on the continuity you go with, like the JLA, Cheetah they had Batman locked up, and Cheetah was alone with Batman. He was like, what happened, and because he's Bruce Wayne, he knows what was going on, and yeah, they made out. Like he flat seduced her. But I mean, he could have said, "Oh, but I mean, he didn't say, but I mean, if he wanted, he could have said, yeah, I'm actually Bruce Wayne. I could give you the funding to cure yourself of of your problem. No sweat. Like $1 billion, fucking done. As long as you promise to as long as you do something to protect me." Because what's that? Be like, date me, marry me,
Not be a super criminal?
yeah, not be a criminal anymore. Like he could have done any of those things, but no, instead it's like made out of he used his charms to get her to just make out with him, almost set him free. But then at the end of the episode, he said he could set himself free at any time. He was just keeping an eye on them, and I thought that was hilarious. But he never tried to attack her. He did attack her for her looks. He said that she was beautiful. He basically complimented her. He was being a gentleman towards her, and that's what I love about Batman. Like the animated series, Batman cared about the villains. He wanted them to get help. It's just they're going to Arkham. He even cares about the Joker. If you can believe that or not. I mean, people could say, sure, Batman letting the Joker out is him enabling him because he needs something to live for, but they've got they've got a really toxic relationship. Yeah, and they do have a relationship if you think about it. Like Batman sort of needs Batman's counterbalance is the Joker. The Joker's counterbalance is Batman. The two of them need each other to balance each other out. So no, they're not going to kill the other. They're just going to try and play the cat and mouse game until they get tired of it. It's the sad truth about Batman. For that, but yeah. So with the cheats, depending on what Mythos is, she's either a Wonder Woman villain who was an Amazon who got cursed, or she's a doctor who made some sort of formula akin to Professor Connors who became the Lizard in Spider-Man continuity. It all depends. If they ever got the help they needed, they could be a decent person. In fact, I think if I remember right, Dr. Connors actually did get cured, and he stopped being the Lizard Man for a long time. He went back to being a teacher and a professor and an actual bioengineer as well.
And now, as a cross comparison, let's take a look at a similar character in Marvel continuity. I have a couple of things for this. One's a PDF, which I won't be able to share with you, but this image kind of emphasizes my point because it's pretty much the exact same character visually. This is Tigra. And here she is saying a line from the 60s or 70s comic book line, something like that. They were a hidden race that evolved from cats. They transformed me into Tigra in order to save my life. They're all gone now, all of them. It's been over a year. You know, this is the first time I've really used this. I guess I'm just more comfortable as Tigra. She can transform at will, and yet she prefers to stay as Tigra.
Yep.
Because she's more comfortable in that form. She doesn't have the same hang-ups that that Cheetah has, and yet, if we pop over to my little PDF file from her own miniseries several years later, we'll see that she's faced quite a bit of hardships.
But my question is she a villain or a hero?
She's a hero, even though she looks pretty much the same. Here we go.
So
I can't count the times I've encountered hatred from someone. I was at the movies and a guy wanted to pet me. I snapped at him that I was not a stuffed animal. Weeks later, I ran into him on the street. He tried to hit me, then spewed some monologue about how our kind doesn't pay taxes. I have no idea why that comes to mind at a time like this. I normally have no natural fears except for fire, and when I think I'm about to feel blinding pain, I hear the voice of Captain America saying what he did back at Avengers HQ. Strength is born of the mind. Visually, very similar characters. Completely different psychology when it comes to how they treat their powers and their condition. Cheetah hates who she is. Tigra embraces who she is. And even though Tigra still faces persecution for being a furry cat freak, she still embraces it. She's been called a mutant in the past. Her powers are magical. She doesn't correct anyone because some of her best friends are mutants.
She's like, sure, I'm a mutant, whatever. What are you going to do? Can't change who I am.
I'm still a friggin' Avenger.
Yeah, I'm an Avenger. What are you? But like, see, when one person can wake up in the morning and go, "Ah, what a wonderful day," you're looking good yourself, baby. The other one's like, "Oh, what a wonderful day," and oh god, I'm still that thing. One of them's more vain than the other. One of them's like grown to accept, like, yeah, this was put on me to change my life. This is a life-changing thing, but it was to save my life, so I'm okay with that. I accepted this. They helped me to accept this, and the other one's like, without getting any acceptance or anything, it's just like, I'm a freak because everyone says I'm a freak, and I want to get cured, but no one's going to help me because they think I'm a freak. But I'm not a freak yet because I'm a freak.
And it doesn't help that most superheroes punch Cheetah in the face, while a lot of civilians punch punch Tigra in the face, and she's like, you know what? That's your problem that you think that I'm a freak. I'm a freaking superhero. I've saved the world a dozen times over. Yes, I have problems. Yes, I have weird shit that happens to me, but I'm still a freaking superhero.
Sometimes I like to go to the pet store and buy catnip, so what? I've not got a problem. I like to make jokes. I wasn't serious. I'm not trying to make fun of the.
Actually, ironically, in the comic books, she's eating cat food out of a box. Because why not?
Yeah, I mean,
she embraces what she is.
Yeah. I mean, I make jokes because it's a character, but sorry, every single comic book character is someone's favorite character, and they will defend that character. So, anyone who feels like I am making fun of their favorite comic book character, I'm not trying to. I'm just I point out the funny side because that's what I do.
Yeah, it should be. This is actually a useful picture. I'll use this as a reference for you guys as we're cross-comparing the two of them.
I mean, they're either way you look at it, they're both incredibly beautiful. I just yeah. Oh, the other difference with Marvel and DC, Tiger is wearing clothing. Cheetah's not. Cheetah's a freaking nudist. But they get away with it because they say, well, there's no nipple or woohoo showing, so it's totally reasonable. Well, at the same time, they can say, yeah, well, Cheetah's not got that. I mean, she's got fur, but it's not. But she's wearing clothes because she wants to obey the law. It's like, you see, she's able to control the power, but she prefers to be the cat because she likes being a cat. The other one was she could have the other power of changing.
I actually wrote a fanfic where Tiger wound up in the DC continuity, and and because they have Dr. Fate in the DC continuity, who's a powerful mystic, he just basically transferred that same power because Tiger loves being Tiger. She doesn't want to power down. Cheetah would love to power down, so why not give it to someone who would do it? And it actually led to Cheetah starting her being able to reform.
You know, that's a wonderful thing. Like the Amalgam comics and like Marvel and DC, how they did to make that amalgam. Sometimes like one of the things was they fused two superheroes together. Well, they fuse characters together. But it's like if they were to do that, this is like if only this Cheetah and Tiger combined and they can turn the powers off and off, but they either hate being a human or they hate being the animal, or they don't like being the animal sometimes, but they're a hero because of the animal. It's like it'd be a weird thing. But if Amalgam is still around, get on it, people. Marvel, DC, get together, make the Tiger and Cheetah thing crossover actually happen, and keep a canon within both storylines because that would be amazing.
Because honestly speaking, if Tiger were to lose her ability to power down, it would not affect her in the slightest. There have been a couple of stories where she's powered down for investigative reasons, because no one really remembers what Greer Grant Nelson looks like, because she's Tiger all the time. But Cheetah would love the ability to power down. So you would literally lose nothing from the Marvel side and gain everything on the DC side.
Yep. They could get a powerful ally who could change at will if they wish to. It's like talking about comic book characters like the actual people is like a really interesting way of talking about psyche and talk about like what makes people act the way they do and the psyche and stuff. So if we talk about Bruce Wayne, no, not Bruce Wayne, Bruce Banner and Incredible Hulk, they have a symbiotic relationship, but at the same time, neither of them like the other, but they had to learn to live with it. Because Hulk hates being Banner, Banner hates being Hulk. But somewhere along the lines, they've actually had to come to an impasse. Be like, okay, we don't like each other, but we're stuck together. So why don't we just deal with it and just embrace it? And at one point they actually did that, and it made the Incredible Hulk extremely intelligent. He had the intelligence of Bruce Banner, but the appearance of the Incredible Hulk. He had the strength, and his green skin and all that, but he had the intelligence and linguistic skills of Bruce Banner. So they made the Hulk better though. It was a really good story. But of course, every rewrite of the canon, everything that they do, they have to make it so the Hulk's a rampant idiot and Bruce Banner's the smartest guy in the room.
Until we got Amadeus Cho as the Incredible Hulk.
Yep. And he's okay. And his Hulk is just, he's chill with being the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, though, before they had Amadeus Cho, Bruce Banner removed himself from the Hulk. And they were actually able to live apart, even though in the past it was like, if we were apart for too long, we could both die. They were able to be separate, or no, they didn't separate them actually. A mistake. They separated each other's memories from each other. That's right. It's a weird thing. So Bruce Banner gave his Hulk powers to Amadeus Cho, and it's like cool. He's better be like one of Bruce Banner's oldest friends. It's the first time I've heard of him personally. Again, I come from the animated series because I'm a child of the 90s. God, I hate feeling old. It's like all these different characters that we know and love, to have their different flavors, they have their different items. Like, Lex Luthor, he's a personification of the amorous of people, not amorous, pride and envy, I guess. Like he's prideful in his intelligence and how he's basically owns Metropolis. He can rebuild it with his vast amount of money because he makes a lot of money from being the leader of his own enterprise. He's also a villain. So it's like, okay, you're a villain, but you're also helping everyone. Okay, fine, whatever you say, Lex. But he wants to protect Gotham, so he decides, no, not Gotham. He wants to protect Metropolis. So rather than do the right thing to protect Metropolis, he decides, I want to save the planet or keep the world planet free from these freaky alien people like you, Superman.
It's an interesting case of vanity and inferiority.
Yep.
Yes, he was corrupt and did questionable things with his company, sold weapons and whatnot. He's essentially Iron Man when you think about it, because he had a suit of power armor, he sold weapons, except he never had that moment where Iron Man question the fact that he sold munitions. He never had that moment where he was like, you know what, maybe selling weapons isn't the best thing in the world to do, and then just becomes a philanthropist. So he's basically Iron Man without that big realization that selling weapons is bad.
He's Iron Man without the conscience.
Pretty much.
God, that's a terrible thing to think about.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that Iron Man has a conscience.
I know, right? Shocking.
And then he ends up going on to be president, and it's like there's a lot of stuff that Lex Luthor has done, but ultimately it comes from this idea that he can break the law as long as it makes the world a better place. And he does make the world a better place. Even when he becomes the president in the comics, he's making the world a better place. It's just that he's coming from this place where, like, he's always right, and all the freaks with superpowers are wrong. It should always be humans first and advanced technology. He's the ultimate racist. Because he doesn't want anyone who's not a human to have any power. So he would hate people like Cheetah. He would hate people with magical powers like Dr. Fate. He would hate, Superman, an alien. Unless you're a human who has power armor or advanced technology, those are the only people he respects.
Well, again, I'm going to the animated series stuff. He's worked alongside Tiger and all these super villains, but
he always considers himself above them, better than them.
Yeah, he's working with them because he's working towards his own personal goal of like dominance or like either dominance or trying to get all the Brainiac fragments because he wanted to be a god again.
And yet, ironically, in the New 52, I know the New 52 did something right. Isn't that crazy?
My God.
After Superman died, because Superman always dies, let's be honest.
Superman dies, take a shot.
He realized that Superman did a lot of good, and that's why he basically took on the role that Steel does in the normal continuity. He used his power armor, put the Superman shield on it, threw a cape on it, and became a superhero. Because he basically got over his hang-ups after he realized how much good Superman did. Superman's now gone, someone has to pick up the slack. He reformed and became a founding member of the Justice League. He became Iron Man. He realized his flaws, he realized what he was doing wrong, and decided, I'm going to take Kal-El's example and make the world a better place. He did the same thing in, Superman, not Brave and the Bold, not Red Sun. It was the one where Superman got exposed to super radiation and was dying.
I don't remember.
All-Star Superman.
Okay.
At the end of All-Star Superman, Kal-El basically gives Lex Luthor basically all of the knowledge of Krypton. And Lex Luthor finally realizes, now that Superman's dead, with all the knowledge of the universe, how much good he could do. Because it basically comes down to Lex Luthor has this huge inferiority complex for Superman. Once Superman's out of the picture, he can start actually thinking clearly about how to use his abilities, his skills, and his resources to make the world a better place. He's got a massive inferiority complex with Kal-El. And once Kal-El's no longer in the picture, he becomes a lot more clear-headed.
And if you really think about it, with that said, DC Universe has 2 Iron Man. Batman, if you have a son of superpower to defeat Bane, because he can do that. And again, like we've already said, Lex Luthor.
And technically Steel, John Henry Irons.
Iron Man is just Batman and Luthor mixed together.
Yep, he's Batman's sense of justice, but Lex Luthor's sense of, hey, so I've got all this money and I want to get more money.
He's also Batman personality wise.
Yeah, he's Batman personality wise, but Lex Luthor's business wise.
As well as a little bit of Lex Luthor's neuroses, because we all know that Iron Man is a little bit kooky.
Yeah, he's the smartest person in the room. He knows it. He wants to show it. He's a bit narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit narcissistic, just a little bit.
Just a skosh.
Oh, who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? He's a textbook definition of a narcissist, but that's besides.
And he'd probably admit it. Oh yeah, I'm a narcissist. You got a problem with that?
No. but yeah, so without Superman, Lex is a completely different person. And then when he realizes he needs Superman, he's an even worse person. Because that was his all to be like, actually, I don't need you because you're a filthy, filthy, horrible, disgusting thing which is not human at all. Blah, I hate you. Oh god, that's another one.
That seemed appropriate.
Yep, I am. Yep, Green Lantern and Iron Man.
Hey guys, welcome back to.
But if you really think about all these villains, like here's another one, Doctor Doom. I've read it on his wiki. He took over the world 3 times. He was stopped the first time. Second time, something else happened. The third time, he gave it all up because he realized he just wanted to rule the Genosha in peace, his home country. Was it Genosha? No, that's not Genosha. Genosha's the
Mutant Island.
Yeah, Mutant Island. It was Latveria.
Latveria.
Yeah, he wanted to rule Latveria in peace. He just wanted to be left alone.
And then there was the entire Convergence event in Battle World, which he's actually won twice in both Battle Worlds. He has won Battle World and gotten the power cosmic.
Yep.
And what's he do the first time around?
Brings his mother back.
And what's he do with the new reboot where they did new continuity? He basically revived all of the dead heroes and revived the villains, and basically, since the world had been completely destroyed by universal convergences, he basically took Battle World and basically used it to remake the universe on a much smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's revealed that the multiverse is back.
And then he put everyone back into, well, actually, the multiverse wasn't back. It was just one giant universe instead of one small planet.
Yep.
So once the universe was back, he put everyone back there and gave up the powers. The only thing that he did after giving up his powers is he fixed his face. That's it. And I think he brought back his mother.
Yeah.
But that's it. And then he teamed up with Iron Man.
Like the thing about like Doctor Doom is, yes, he has this hang up about being shown up by Reed Richards, so he wants to show off. But what people forget is he's a magician, he's an engineer, and he genuinely cares about his people.
He genuinely cares not just about his people, but about the world. It's just that his tactics are a little bit hard-handed.
Yep.
He is the classic definition of an anti-hero.
I mean, if
he wants to make the world a better place, it's just that he's not going about it with the classical superhero mentality.
And also, when he learned Iron Man was out of the picture or died, he became Iron Man for a bit in one of the continuities.
Mm-hmm.
He was heavy-handed with that, but he was still Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Doom has shown time and time again that he's not just a cackling supervillain like they often portray him in the damn Fantastic Four movies. He is a genuinely deep character who wants to make the world a better place. He may go a bit heavy-handed, but he does want to make the world a better place.
He doesn't want to set the world on fire. He wants to set the world right.
And he doesn't want to kill everybody to set the world right. He realizes that he's got the intelligence as the actual ruler of a country that he could rule the world efficiently and make the world a better place.
He attempted to rule the world 3 times. Well, no, he's ruled the world 3 times.
And he usually gives it up, not because heroes defeat him, but because he realizes, this really isn't working the way I was hoping it would work.
This whole ruling the whole planet thing seems kind of boring. I don't want to do this anymore. Can sometimes take over. I want to go out and buy some cigarettes from the corner store and return.
Anyone else we want to talk about?
Well, who else can we talk about? Because we were originally talking about the Batman Rogues Gallery. We ended up talking about DC, Marvel characters.
Well, we keep going back and forth with comparison because they're really great to compare against.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we could go with like Eddie Brock.
Ah, yes, Eddie Brock. He's an interesting character.
Oh, he is extremely interesting. Like because but with Eddie Brock, we're also gonna have to talk about the many symbiotes that have spawned from him.
Oh
Dear
yes, dear God, there are so many symbiotes.
Dear God in heaven, does anyone have an extra hour? Because you're gonna need an extra hour. Holy shit! Oh, demonetized. Whoops. No, but being serious here, like Eddie Brock, he better because he got fired from the Bugle and he blamed Peter Parker. And oh look, this thing that came from Peter Parker. I've joined him, but originally I joined with Deadpool. And that's why it's insane. Joined Deadpool, guy saying went to Eddie Brock, bonded with Eddie Brock, he became Venom.
And the symbiote still wants to keep going back to Peter Parker.
Yep.
Like, that's the really crazy thing about the symbiote, is the symbiote itself isn't, well, it's not evil. It's a little bit crazy because it's bonding with Deadpool, but it's not evil.
Yep. No.
It's unstable. And the thing is that if Peter Parker, again, was using, say, the intellect of Dr. Octopus, and instead of being self-destructive, he would realize that the symbiote isn't evil, and that the symbiote loves him, and the symbiote wants to help him, but the symbiote has got its own hang-ups. So instead of focusing only on his own personal hang-ups, he could bond with the symbiote. They could become a much better Spider-Man, a much stronger Spider-Man. Venom would not be in the picture anymore, would not be trying to kill Peter Parker, and all he has to really deal with is treating the symbiote's own neuroses, which honestly aren't that hard to deal with.
Yep.
It's a little bit more violent and aggressive, but give it enough time with Peter Parker and it would pick up Peter Parker's traits. Plus, as we learn later on in the comics, with Agent Venom, the symbiote can be cured.
Yeah, if with the right amount, with the right cocktail of drugs, it can be chilled out.
Like, that happens with Agent Venom. They go to the symbiote's homeworld and he gets cured of the neuroses that Deadpool caused.
But like with Venom, but Eddie Brock, he's got hang-ups. He wants to get revenge on Peter Parker. Finds out Spider-Man wants to kill Spider-Man because it wants to kill Spider because it's an extension of Peter Parker. I spoke too fast and I realised it. So I'll say that again slower. Eddie Brock wants to get revenge on Peter Parker because Peter Parker got him fired. Gets the Venom symbiote. He's like, oh yeah, so Spider-Man totally Peter Parker. Who knew, right? So he's like, okay, I want to kill Spider-Man and Peter Parker because they're both Peter Parker. And then after a while, Venom's like, hey dude, yeah, I'm totally pregnant, and you're the father, lol. Reproduces asexually, creates Carnage. Carnage bonds with it. Insane, a guy more insane than Deadpool, creates Carnage. Carnage as a kid, Toxin. I'm thinking of what? Wait, was it Toxin?
I think it was Toxin.
Yeah, I think it was Toxin. Yeah. And there's also Poison from the 80s as well. God, there's so many flipping things.
There's so many symbiotes.
Carnage and Venom actually combined at one point.
That happens. That also happens in the Ultimate Universe.
I don't know what it was called, but they have combined to be one being again. I can't remember what they called it, but that happened. And at one point, and also, yeah, I think that's Poison. I think
that's Toxin.
Toxin.
Says so right in the thing.
Yep. So I started doing, and I like because of another person's ability to heal. He healed Eddie Brock of whatever he had. I think he had cancer. He got healed.
Oh yeah, he did that to the Guardians of the Galaxy as well.
Yeah. Like, Eddie Brock gets healed of his cancer, but somehow it alters the latent Venom.
Well, because yeah, one of the earlier comics, it was like Spider-Verse or something, or like Planet of the Symbiotes. Eddie Brock and Venom bonded on a cellular level, and eventually they got split again. But there was a point where they were literally sharing the same DNA. So I think that's what kind of was a callback to, is that literally he had the symbiote in his DNA, and even when the symbiote was split from him, he still had those remnants of that altered DNA.
I think it was a callback to that, but so it's also like because he was bonded with venom for so long, there's still microscopic amounts of venom still inside his bloodstream.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. What happened was venom was bonded to his white blood cells, and when he was touched by Mr. Negative, anti-venom.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So he gets healed, sees venom coming along, and he's like, no, I don't want to become venom again. So suddenly, white stuff comes out of his body. Don't get that idea, people. It's not milk, it's not cream. It was a new symbiote. This new symbiote is anti-venom.
And the best part, it has no weaknesses of the other symbiotes, and
it cures them.
And he's in full control of it.
Yeah, he's in full control of it, and he is able to cure people of their ills.
Though, after a while, he did develop a god complex because of it.
Yep. I can cure the sick, the lame, the injured. I am Jesus.
I am Spider Jesus.
I'm Spider Jesus. I have the powers of a spider, and I can swing around everything. I'm Spider Jesus.
I am your Messiah.
Yep. So he became the if you really think about it, it's a kind of any book's design of anti-venom is really, really lazy. It is literally a power swap of venom.
Oh yeah.
Though that does make sense because it is opposite of venom.
Yeah, but still, it's extremely lazy. It's just a power swap. It's like.
I mean, to be fair, it's because he does have venom in his white blood cells.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay,
let's be honest here. I mean, where is it? My picture. Look at the extended Venom family from like the on the Venom comics. They're all lazy designs.
Yeah.
Yep.
And let's not even consider Carnage's offspring, Toxin, and even a cyborg symbiote.
Wait,
there was a cyborg centaur symbiote. Yes, that was a thing that exists.
I've got one of my Deadpool comics, such as when Deadpool went up against Carnage, and it showed all those symbiotes that are in that picture that we have for Spider-Man, and they all fused with Deadpool at the same time. You even got a doggo.
There.
Scorn is Scorn. Okay, right. Cyborg offspring of Carnage. Jesus.
Here's what happened. That host was bonded to Carnage. Then what was left of Carnage was in her somewhere was in her arm, and yeah, that happened.
Snakes nature's
literally.
Swiss Army knife. You could use it to bite. You could
literally was creatures of Carnage were in her arm, and Storm was born.
Or in a pinch, you can strangle with one of your deadly snakes. They are not found in Utah. Only Deadpool would go after a cyborg centaur venom symbiote type dealing. But yes, so the symbiotes got out of hand, and they had to make a planet symbiote story to get rid of all of the symbiotes.
And there you go.
Who's this wonderful creature? Bonds complete. We are Scorn. Yes, Scorn. Like the amount of people that have had a Venom symbiote. They've made a storyline to have all the Venom symbiotes joined together. It was the Planet Venom. I think it was.
If you notice, her arm isn't purple. It's gray.
Yeah.
That's because her host had a robotic arm, so she took the shorts of it.
What?
And then in one of the Venom comics, the symbiote was cut off and bonded to Eddie Brock's girlfriend, and we got this.
A poopy emoji. Oh yeah, that was hot. That was kind of hot.
And she was a
Before
complete
I
psychopath. Oh yeah, it's not going to let me do it, is it? You have to go to the link directly.
Showing a poop emoji.
You have to go to the link directly, unfortunately.
The elite, basically, imagine if you will, Eddie Brock. No,
Oh, they've got it on screen for them, for you guys.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Like, for those of you who aren't watching, who are clicked away to do other things, picture Carnage in Venom's colors with boobs.
There you go.
That's female Venom.
She-Venom.
Yes, Chinam. It is a interesting sight to say the least.
And then there's Mania.
Yeah, Mania's,
the clone of Venom, who's also demonic.
the clone of Venom, the clone of Venom, who bonded with someone who Flash Thompson knows, because Flash Thompson is Agent Venom, and he helps Mania. I think that's a really cool storyline.
Yeah, she's Venom only with the abilities of Hellfire.
And she's a teenager.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. That's a teenager underneath that suit, and that's why you don't see very many curves. Which is good. Because only butts. But like, there's so many, and the best / worst thing about Venom is it brings out the West in the host.
Okay, don't let me even get started on Venomverse. Don't let me even get started on Venomverse.
I'm gonna have to go real quick with things outside of the stream. So feel free to keep talking about this because it's an interesting topic to carry on.
Let me just pull up an image of Venomverse. Just as a point of reference. Because you're here.
Yeah, it's literally an entire comic series, only everyone's Venom. Everyone.
Oh yeah. There's a Ghost Rider Venom. There's a T-Rex Venom.
Peter Parker as Venom. Agent Venom. Gwenpool Venom. Deadpool Venom. Wolverine Venom.
Devil Dinosaur Venom.
Yep.
It's just,
Doctor Strange Venom.
It's, kinda insane. I think that was just a case of Marvel just wanting to have fun. Because it is got some crazy ass shit in it. Like this horrifying monstrosity of an image that will now haunt your nightmares for the rest of time. Nope, wrong link. Venom.
Yeah, no. Spider-Gwen. Since there's Spider-Gwenpool, there's Gwenom, which is Gwenpool and Gwenpool as Venom, and there's also Spider-Gwen Venom.
Yeah, I think that just the entire Venomverse is just them having fun with symbiotes because there's no way they can make this work in continuity. They made Spider-Verse work, but there's no way they're going to make this work. This is just them having fun.
And they also made some kind of enemy to the symbiotes.
Oh yeah, I got pictures of them as well.
And like when it infects the host, let's take Peter Parker for example. He was infected, and he looks just like Anti-Venom.
Here's your animated Venomverse, everybody. Dr. Venom, Captain Venom, Venom, Black Venom, Logan Venom, Rocket Venom,
Venompool.
Ant Venom,
So yeah, there were two versions of Wolverine fighting side by side, and they're both Venom.
Yeah, it just Venomverse, Edge of Venomverse, it's just horrifying images all around. It's them going back to their old horror comic roots because, my gosh. You want nightmare fuel? Look up anything from Edge of Venomverse. Like Daredevil and Electra Venom.
Did that remind you of Ghost Rider Venom?
Yeah, I saw that in the big picture. Which, you've got to wonder how that's even physically possible due to the weakness to fire and all that, but whatever, it's Hellfire.
And here's a version of that without the
Okay, I'm back. I just had to move some. I had to move furniture outside.
But yeah, and we've been discussing all the versions of Venom in Venomverse.
Oh boy, like these all did like they're bringing up the worst in related
Like, as I said before, I think it's just them having fun, because they were able to make Spider-Verse work in continuity. I can't see how they can make Venomverse work in continuity. I think they just want to have fun.
But yeah, they turned Robbie Reyes into a psychopath.
Well, it's not in continuity, because the old.
I realized that, but that's very out of character.
No, all of this is out of continuity because, and I could justify by saying, there's a comic which continues the Old Man Logan's story where he killed Bruce, he killed the Incredible Hulk who killed a bunch of other people as well, and took his son. There's a comic which continues that saying that his son grew up to resent Logan and found out the truth that Logan was his dad, like shock and horror. So they tried to kill him. Then the symbiote somehow bonds with him, and they go through a port because it was stuck to dead the dinosaur.
And Nina reminds you, this is after Eddie Brock was bonded to it. So that T-Rex has been bonded to Venom for a long time.
Yep, it's Venom Rex. I can't remember what his name was, but that crashed in. And then that Venom symbiote suit joined with Logan. and it helped him get. And he was dying because his healing factor gone. And it kicked out his health factor, but he was still slowly dying again. Then he got pulled into the Venomverse. So it's horrendously off canon. The Venomverse stuff is entirely out canon, and it's amazing and wonderful.
Though most of the Venoms were cannon fodder.
Yep.
The same thing with Spider-Verse and the Deadpool core.
Oh, the Deadpool core is great. Where's Francis?
Don't do stuff, Jessica.
Any other thoughts, folks, or should we end our little discussion here?
Well, can you think of it?
Honestly, I'm out of ideas.
Does anyone in the chat think of anything? Can anyone in the chat think of any topics we could cover with superheroes? Instead of like villains which have got stupid hang-ups, let's think of like superheroes which have stupid hang-ups. We've already covered Spider-Man with his stupidity.
Oh, how about the time when they made the Punisher Frankenstein?
I think that's just more old. I think that's just like Silver Age comic book weirdness.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's recent, and it actually happened.
What?
Yeah, they turned the Punisher into Frankenstein.
That's stupid.
They even called him Franken Castle.
That's even more.
I know, and it happened.
That's stupid.
And it's canon.
Oh, why did they just make the Kills the Marvel Universe storylines canon too?
You think that's weird? The stuff that Punisher has been through is kind of insane. There was a time he was a half demon.
Yep.
And
the kills like Deadpool. The Deadpool Kills Marvel Universe is a better version of the fake cast of the Punisher Kills Marvel Universe. Like, in the Punisher one, yes, he kills all the superheroes and all the villains, and that's one left is Daredevil. And he then Punisher kills himself. He doesn't kill everyone. He just kills all the people that he can kill. Deadpool straight up murders literally everyone in the Marvel Universe. To the point where he breaks.
This version of Deadpool is even more deranged.
Yeah, because he loses all the voices and he just has the one psychopathic voice that everyone has, and he listens to it. So, and I've got all three of the kills of the Deadpool Kills comics. Yeah,
then we had this. The Punisher turns himself into a black man temporarily.
Yep, he got turned. Reg, you said you were hungry earlier. Bon appetit. But yeah, like, so the Punisher, the Marvel got into some shit for that Punisher thing where he turned himself black. Or African American. I don't really. It's like racism. Race is whatever. Racism is not really. Racism is a thing, yes, but calling people what the skin tone is shouldn't be classified as racist to me. But that's a dream. Right now, we're talking about the character hang-ups. Like the Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. That's my favorite one because at the end of the comic, he's like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna go like." At the end of the comic, he makes it to reality and he kills their stuff right in the comic. Then after that, the voice is like, you know, well, you killed the creator, you killed everyone in your universe, but now you got to kill the inspirations. They didn't go to DC. They went to Fairy Tale. Name of the Submariner is a Little Mermaid.
But long story short, that version of Deadpool dies because the original Deadpool joins
Yep.
forces with other Deadpools.
They like that version dies because all the just every see, all of the Deadpools from all around the universe is joined up and to take him out, and they have two sides. The ones with the Deadpool kills first, and those who aren't part of his little thing. Yeah, Deadpool illustrated. That was the second lot. There's Deadpool killed in the Marvel Universe, Deadpool illustrated, and Deadpool kills Deadpool.
Yep.
And Deadpool kills Deadpool. Showed off to me for the first time a lot of them, like Gimppool, or the Black Suit Deadpool, who's a masochist. He kills Deadpool by putting him in a microwave and turning it on. And that was hilarious. I'm not even joking about that. That's legit what happened. The zombie head of Deadpool from Marvel's Zombies is murdered by being put in a microwave and cooked until it exploded. Because comics.
Though that kind of death isn't out of character for Deadpool.
True. And it came to because like all the different Deadpools were on different sides, and it was great. The key people in Deadpool culture on Deadpool were on the good side, obviously, because stick together and shit. But like, it was a whole mess.
So, anything else to add?
Marvel Zombies?
I think we've actually covered pretty much everything there's worth the covering. So I'm going to end...
I personally think Marvel Zombies was a great concept because of, like, after the first one, they find another... They got the powers of Galactus, they went to other worlds. Peter Parker found a world... Went to a world where Mary Jane was alive and everything was good, and he was trying to be better than the zombie he was. Ended up killing Mary Jane and Aunt May, and without realizing, without meaning to, because he bit the vulture or something. Who then, no, it's not. It was he bit one of his enemies, who then went after Mary Jane and Aunt May and to around the same place, and he was like, "Oh." He started the zombie plague there.
And his webs were actually his veins.
Yep. And in the Zombieverse, keep in mind Deadpool and Deadpool Wolverine have healing factors. Yeah, they didn't have for some reason they didn't have the healing factors when they were tending to zombies. That is on a postcard.
Since Deadpool isn't alive anymore, so that's something.
But how did he die? The zombie virus does not say it turns off the powers of the superheroes. That is incredibly dumb, and stupid, and dumb.
It's just Marvel doing what-if stuff, which I've always found amusing. Like this one. What if Charles Xavier became the Juggernaut?
Oh my god, that would have been so cool.
Or one where if the Hulk would change his intelligence.
Oh man, that would have been good. Like,
and to show things off, it's just him driving the car.
That's another thing like the Juggernaut is a really good character too. He's been formed. He was a bad guy and became a good guy. He got over his hand for hating Charles. But he lost his powers for a bit and then gained it back because of the demon. Is that Spider-Man for the Phoenix Force?
Yes. That was another what-if.
Spider Phoenix. Oh, God, no.
There's even a Spider Ghost Rider.
Of course there is.
That was a what if comic. What if Spider-Man gained the powers of the Phoenix Force?
Just, I love this. I love
Yeah,
when Marvel just goes.
here's the backstory. He's a version of Spider-Man who kept absorbing powers from other Spider-Man. So eventually he died and turned into Ghost Rider.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
There's that again, because
He's a Spider-Man who absorbed the powers of other Spider-Men and eventually died turning into Ghost Rider.
what?
Yeah.
It was the Spider-Man who absorbed the powers of other Spider-Man and died and became Ghost. What?
Yes, that happened. And guess who killed him?
Spider-Man?
The original Spider-Man.
The what if comics
damn
are
it.
crazy.
Yes, they are.
But-
Deadpool kills one of the universe. He does.
Can I remind you that's part of a universe where Uncle Ben survived and helped this version of Peter absorb their powers.
Christ almighty.
Behold, Ghost
And
Rider
he
Iron
ha-
Man.
And he had the
Let's
same
go.
powers as Peter.
Why?
Read
don't
what if
know.
comics, folks. They're fun.
What, like, honestly, what if comics are great? Are like a great way for writers to just go, man, I am so bored of writing this character. Can I do something differently? Okay, sure. Write a. Okay, I want to write a. Well, what team are you on? I'm on a Spider-Man team. What would you rather write? I want to write an Iron Man story. Okay, Spider Iron Man. So we already have that one. Yeah, but just because like, what if like Tony Stark got bit by a radioactive spider instead? Okay, all right, I can do that one. But that's an interesting story. I don't know if it's one that's happened or not, but if it has, holy crud. I mean, we had the. I mean, Iron Man has made Spider-Man a suit of armor, and it was the Iron Spider. So that is a canon thing that has happened. It's like all these. If you really think, right, could Spider have which he could like not mess up?
Even the Battle World had some great what if stuff, like Renew Your Vows.
I would love a what if. I would love a canon reboot, the canon removal of part of the selling his marriage.
That was, I think, that really did show that Spider-Man can work as a married man. It was one of the.
Yes.
I think it was actually one of the best-selling comics.
But but rather than say, "Hey, this is where can I get divorced?" No, it was, yeah. So my Aunt May's dying, so I'm going to sell our marriage, and she was okay with it. Didn't she say, yeah? But didn't Aunt May say isn't Aunt May like a skeleton now? Can't we just say that? Yeah, but I like having the old bad girl. She gives me responsibility, but I'm your wife. I am your responsibility. Yeah, but you're not old and decrepit.
Okay, there you go, Doseki. There you go.
What the hell is that?
Ghost Spider.
Told you.
Oh,
I told you there's a version of Spider-Man who's Ghost Rider.
that is so stupid.
All right, folks. I'm going to call it here. We'll have more discussions,
Yeah.
obviously, in our chat room here. But I think we've had a nice long discussion in an hour and a half for you guys to have stuff to talk about. Peace out.